Hi, friends and family,
Welcome to Hope After Addiction
with your hosts, Katie Comer.
and Chelsea McLeod.
Welcome back to Hope After Addiction. We are so happy that you've joined us today. How are you?
Hey, friend. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing well.
Mm-hmm.
No new news to report.
No.
Oh, I do have something.
Oh, do
so
tell.
let me tell you and get your opinion on this.
Oh.
I have one of my really good friends. Maybe, hopefully, she won't listen to this. But she is having a birthday party, and she wants to go to a haunted house.
Nope.
I'm literally gonna have to buy some Depends or something
I won't.
because I might pee on myself.
Mm-hmm.
I could never. I can't even watch scary movies. I ask Adam. I'm gonna maybe need you to cut out the whole Depends part.
It's fine.
Definitely don't put this on social media.
It's organic.
But seriously, if I watch a scary movie, even like a little bit of a scary movie, blankets over my head, and Adam's like, "You're ridiculous. It's just like not even that scary." And she's like, "I'm thinking, just some of us girls, just hear me out. We're gonna go over to the haunted house over in Nashville."
Nope.
What do I do? Do I make up an excuse of not to go?
I would say I'd meet you before or after, but
sick.
Yeah. Nope.
I'm so nervous. She might not follow through with it. She also said maybe she wants to rent out the cycle studio and go
That's
do
what
the cycle.
you should push her to that. Like, I really want to go exercise. I have a trip coming up. Yes.
Because I'm like, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Let's go get sweaty.
Let's go get some Mexican or something.
Yes. Yep. Nope. Nope.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, that's what I'm having to deal with. I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated. It's at the end of October.
Okay. Also, I got to tell you what you can't tell on here, but we will post a picture. The girls, some of our S2L girls have thought of a fall plan
Oh yeah.
that I will also need Depends for because I will be laughing. So I can't
what
tell
is
you.
it?
I can't tell because the guys might watch it.
Oh.
So we have to wait till after.
Okay, you have to tell me later.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I just found out about this yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You're going to die.
So we might need to be sponsored by Depends.
Yes. We're waiting on you.
We're just waiting for the call.
Uh-huh.
So
Yes.
anyway, back to our topic. Reel it back in.
That's right.
Today
laughter.
we're going to be talking about not being behind. Okay. I don't know how to word it.
You are not behind in life.
You are not behind in life. You're
yeah.
right where you belong.
Yes.
That's
Yep.
good.
That's
You are
good.
not behind in life. You're right where you belong in life. I think that society, the pressures, specifically, we've talked about this a lot, but social media
Oh, yeah.
plays a big role in comparing. Even if you don't have social media, I think it's a human nature to compare yourself of where you think you should be versus where others are.
Yeah.
And we just kind of wanted to come on here and be an encouragement to you all, especially in the season that y'all might be at. You might be separated from your husband. Your kids might be going off the rails in rehab. And you're like, I did not see that my life would be here right now. I feel so far behind in life right now. I don't know what to do. I mean, I remember feeling that way
Oh, yeah.
because I thought I was going to have kids. My mom had me at 22 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I was married at 25, so I already felt behind. Then Adam went through his addiction 2 years into our marriage.
Puts us way behind.
Put me way behind. I was like, well, definitely not having kids right now.
Yep.
And so I had a lot of that.
Yeah.
When I turned 30, when I turned 35, when I turned 40, like there's different things in life. You're like, I thought I would have been here by now, or I thought I would have been here. And it's a lot of just like the pressures either you put on yourself, the society puts on you because you compare yourself to other people. But we wanted to come on here and just really be an encouragement to you. You are right where God's called you to be, and look at that as an encouragement.
Yeah, because I think we all go through that. I remember specifically, it was years ago, kind of beginning of our recovery, and we were at a birthday party of friends, and all of our friends on both sides all have kids who are now, like, some are in high school, which is hard to believe because we have a newborn at home, you know. And I remember us sitting there, and we were sitting out on the porch, just John and I, and almost like that snow globe I talk about, where everybody's doing their thing and we're sitting here. And John and I looked at each other and we're like, we feel so out of place. And we got in the car and we talked, because they all had like these beautiful homes and these new cars, and the kids are doing great and starting school. And we're like, wow, like we were both set back in a moment until we talked through, like we're so behind. Like we're the only ones here that, yes, we felt so behind. And we talked through that day. And God has really worked on my heart in these 8 years of contentment, and to realize that it is okay. My story is not their story, and their story is not my story. Me having a second son at 36 years old was God's exact plan.
That's right.
You know, me going through infertility for that many years was God's exact plan. Our walk with addiction, that many years, was God's exact plan to use for his good and his glory. And so I think so often our society has norms. And that was another big lesson. I spent a lot of time in Colorado, was supposed to move there, have a lot of friends out there. And I realized that the societal norm in the South is completely different than the societal norm in a different area of the U.S., as in a different area of the world. And I realized there, not everybody was married. Not everybody was having kids. Like, it was normal to have a child at 35. Whereas here, my mom, like 21,
Yeah.
And so I've had to really grow in that, and God to give me a spirit of contentment to know that my story is my story. And I've said it on here before, God is writing our book. Like, if this, you know, we both have our Bibles, but if this was Katie's story, this was my story, our stories are completely different. And if one chapter was missing, none of our story would make sense. And it would not be to fulfill God's glory over it. And so to grow that contentment when you do feel so behind, you already feel isolated, you already feel alone,
Right.
to know that you are exactly where God has you in this chapter of your life. And it is okay, and to be okay with that. Because I had to grow in that, because I was not. I was very uncontented, if that is the word. Incontent. Something like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yep.
Something that one of those words in the English language.
Yeah. We don't speak much.
Yes. So I feel all of that.
Oh, yeah.
I feel all that. I felt all of that. I know our listeners are feeling all of that. They don't feel like they're in where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Nobody asked to walk through a season of addiction. I just thought, you don't set out your life to be like, this is my story and I'm excited about it. That it's not really something anybody ever hopes for. And so I think that it definitely does create that spirit of discontent.
Discontent. That's the word.
Discontent.
That's it.
Okay. So
Pregnancy brain never leaves. John says he's worried about me a lot. I was like, you should be. You should be.
it never goes away.
Uh-huh.
I still have pregnancy brain, and it's been 7 years.
Listen, people tell me it never goes away and it just gets worse. So you validate that for me.
Right? That or old age. I don't know.
Yes.
41 now. So anyway. Wow, I said depends and my age on this whole episode. This is going well.
This is a big episode.
Wow.
Full of vulnerability.
Wow. All right, let's get back to the word.
Yes.
So I'm going to read this verse.
Yeah.
All right, it's Ecclesiastes.
That a girl.
Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, there is an occasion for everything and a time for every activity under heaven. And so something that reached out to me, I didn't come up with this one. I was like looking through stuff and this came up, but it said God has a specific timing for each of us. Everybody's journey is unique. Yeah. And so kind of to your point, when you're comparing yourself to your friends who have all this stuff, and you might be our listeners might be comparing themselves with their best friend whose son is in the Army and is a captain and not dealing with all this.
Yep.
There is a season and there is an occasion for everything and a time for every activity, even your son's addiction under heaven. There is a time for that. God is going to use it. He's going to use you as his mother. He's going to use you as a story, as a wife, if your husband's going through the addiction. He's going to use that for his glory. And although it might not, your journey is unique to your friend's journey. Your journey is so unique to all of the people that you were talking about, that even God says it. There's a purpose for it. There's a time for it. And we've talked a lot about sharing your story, sharing your testimony, even in the last couple of episodes that we've done. Just how are you going to use this? Even though it doesn't look like what I thought it was going to look like, even though I'm not living near my family in Knoxville, it doesn't look like that at all. Anything like I was going to, like it was going to be. Use this. My journey is so unique, and so just an encouragement to you.
No, and that's good. And I think it's Psalms, if I remember correctly, but it says, there's weeping and mourning, there's life and death. And there's a whole teaching that David writes about where there's a time for everything. And to know that the time for everything to each of the millions and millions and millions of people is unique to you. There's only one of you. There's only one of Katie. There's only one of Carlos. Like, there's only one, and God has your timing so perfectly in line for what his story is going to be and what his story over your life is. And so often, one of my points was the enemy wants us to doubt that. The enemy wants us to doubt what God's doing. And even in that moment at the birthday party, like, God, like, this is not right. Everybody's moving ahead. And you're grateful. You're happy for them. You're excited for them. But you feel like everybody's moving ahead without you. And you're trailing behind. They're trailing ahead. And that's not what it is. But the enemy wants you to believe that. He wants you to think that God doesn't know what he's doing, that he's failing you. All the doubts that the enemy would put there. And those are lies from the pits of hell. And we have to recognize that my story is my story. Their story is their story, and I'm not behind. I'm right where God has me. Yeah. No matter what. I mean, Katie and I say all the time, the people we deal with, it's death, it's overdose, like it's divorce. There's so much in it, but we see so much hope in it too. We see so much restoration in it. And so we know that we deal with every kind of season on here. Everyone watching, every one of you has a different story. But God, in the timing of where you are, you're not behind to where he has you. You are right where you need to be.
And we also say this all the time. Your story is not a surprise to God. He
That's
doesn't,
what you say.
He does not wake up in the morning. I don't even know if he does that. He doesn't do that.
In the wee hours of the morning like we do.
In the wee hours in the morning at 2 a.m.
Yep.
He doesn't go, Adam was addicted. What am I going to do now?
So good. Yep.
What am I going to do now? I'm going to have to rewrite his story.
Right.
No, this was his plan A. Yeah. His plan A was to allow God to use this in Adam. He knew Adam's ability to lead. He's a true leader, and he knew he was going to use it for his glory. That was his plan A. He is not surprised by what you thought was going to happen. This is not his plan B going, well, I'm going to have to divert to Middle Tennessee, I guess. I have no idea. No, like this was his story. Jeremiah 29:11 says, I know the plans I have for you. Like he already knows it. And so trust in what the Bible says. We talked about trust last episode. Trust in what the Bible says. And he's going to make your path straight, right? And so just trust that he has this plan A, and that this is what it is. It might not be easy, because it might not be you're human. It might not be your plan, but it's God's plan.
I think often too, one, that is the most comforting fact, to know that nothing is a surprise. Right. And I think about just now when you get that phone call that your son has passed or your daughter has overdosed, the pain that he must feel, like it makes me emotional when he knows you're about to get that phone call. And he's like, I'm right here. I'm here. But as a parent, like knowing that your child is about to get a phone call that is going to wreck their world, that is one of the biggest surprises of their life, it's not to him. And he knows, and I say he knows the desires of our heart. He knows the desires for children. He knows the desires for freedom in our marriage. But he also knows what we can't see. He sees what we can't see. And so many times we have these desires and we have these visions of what our life should be, but God sees what we can't. He knows what we don't. And so we have to trust when we feel behind that He knows what we don't, and trust that. And that is hard when you get the biggest surprise call of your life. It's hard.
That's hard. Yeah, I think that it's so hard, and it's so hard to also embrace the season that you're in.
Ooh. Feels impossible.
Yeah, it's very, especially, I mean, like Chelsea said, we have moms and dads who've lost their sons, daughters, wives lost their husbands, or maybe not even like by death, some by death, unfortunately. But even just like they're just so out of it. Like they're so addicted. I don't know where to go. Yeah. And it's hard to hear us say that. Embrace this season. God's not surprised by the season that you're in, but some ways that you can embrace your season and learn to trust that you are right where you need to be. You're not behind. You're right where you need to be. Trust in the Lord. Seek guidance. Listen to the podcast. Seek guidance professionally. Go to your church. Hear what the Lord's trying to tell you. Get involved in your church. Make friends at your church. Pray through it. Learning. We talked a lot in the last episode or 2 episodes ago. I can't remember. But how you cultivate a spirit of trust in your season. If you pray, talk it out to God. Tell Him your frustrations. He's not surprised by that. But once you talk it out, journal it out. You do a lot of that. Journal it out. Getting it out of your heart and what's in there and suppressed. It's healing. And it cultivates a spirit of embrace in your season that God's called you to be in. God's called you to be in this season. And it's hard to understand why. Sometimes, why me? Hear that. Why do I have to walk through this? Why did God call me to it? Because He did. And you're strong and you're brave, and He knows that you can handle it because He's not going to give you more than you can handle. So.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll close with is life is not, I've learned in the things that I've been through is life is not about getting to the next destination. As so often we want to run to, we want to be out of here. Like we would do anything to just crawl out of where we are. But it's about embracing and growing and right where He has us, because that is where He's teaching you. That is where He's growing you. That is where He is stretching you to depend fully on Him. And so instead of racing out of where you are, open your heart to what God wants to do right here, right now, because it's something, because you're not out of it yet. Yeah. And so let Him work in that. Let Him bring freedom and just healing right where you are right now.
Yeah. God can use you and will use you if you allow Him in your current season. Yeah. In your current season of hurt, in your current season of desperation, God can and will use you. And so embrace that season of where you're at. Don't fall for what the enemy's saying. You're so far behind. Yeah. Why are you not in this season? Embrace this season. Let God use you in this season of hurt and desperation. Because it's so powerful. It really is so powerful. And you can really help a lot of people if you embrace that season that you're in. So, get it?
Yep.
All right. That's it. Thank you for listening to us. We hope that you felt encouraged today in the season that you're in. We have a lot of hurt people listening to our podcast. We know that. We've been there. So we are so thankful for all of our listeners who take the time to listen to each podcast. And we hope that you are encouraged. So if you are hearing this on any of our social media platforms, make sure you are sharing those. Hit the share button and share that. And if you are finding this on YouTube somehow, make sure you give us a like and subscribe so you can see our next episode that comes out next week. It's going to be a good one. And we have a couple of hopefully guest speakers on the next couple of weeks. So that'll be fun. And anyway, I hope that y'all have a great day. We hope that you're blessed, and we will see you next week. Bye.